What's up guys? Well, as you might know, I've got a nice little pair of speakers in for review, and I've got a nice little Krell setup to power the speakers. Now before I start the review, I wanted to get some decent cables to hook everything up with. I know a lot of you guys are all about the snake oil, and you're entitled to your opinion, but I wanted to get some cables in that were in the same class as these 803s. So I ended up with a few options from Audioquest, which we're going to unbox today. The first ones I've got is a 1.5 meter, which is 5 feet, cinnamon optical cable. I'm sure a bunch of you guys might actually own this one. It comes in the typical Audioquest packaging with all the pertinent info on front and on the back. This is part of their digital cable lineup, and it kind of falls in the middle of what they offer. They've actually got 3 more models that are above this one: the Carbon, Vodka, and Diamond, which is the highest end. As you go up, of course, the price does too. I think the Diamond has a higher quality fiber compared to this one, but this is still nice. It's got the red braided jacket since it's called Cinnamon, and it kind of matches the name. The ends are made of plastic with the Cinnamon branding on them, and the tips here are supposed to be highly polished. So this cable is going to connect the Blue Sound node to the preamp. What I have there now is an Audioquest Force cable. I'm not sure if you can tell the difference between digital optical cables, but we'll see. Alright, next cable we've got is a pair of Water XLR cables. These are part of their Element series, hence the name Water. It's the same type of packaging, nice photo up front, and all the info is on the back. There is also more info on the inside cover. So these are the entry-level models in the Element series. They're 1 meter, which is 3.4 feet. And it looks like they come in their own carry case. That's a nice little touch. Now this little box here is what they call DBS. That's Dielectric Bias System. The idea, from my understanding, is it's supposed to prevent distortion from the insulation absorbing energy from the conductor itself. The conductor, which is the copper inside, it's what gets your signal from one end to the other. So as the signal travels, the insulation could potentially absorb some of that signal energy, creating distortion, since now you're not getting the cleanest signal. This little battery pack is supposed to saturate the insulation with an electrical field strong enough to where it won't absorb any of the signal energy traveling through the cable. Since the insulation is now fully immersed in the electric coming from the battery pack, it can no longer take any energy away from the audio signal. If we pop open this little box, you'll see there are 6 tiny 12-volt batteries in here. I think they're supposed to last about 6 to 7 years. There's a little button here that lights up green if the batteries are still good. Now I'm no audio engineer or a scientist, so I've got no idea if this truly works or I have any way to measure the effect, so I'm gonna have to take Audioquest for their word. I can already see the comments. Anyways, back to the cable. It's got the braided jacket that's blue like water. The ends are cold welded silver plated copper plugs, and the material inside the cable is copper. The word is, silver is a better conductor than copper, which brings us to the other XLR cables that I have, which are the Fire XLR cables. These are the second from the top, as there are 6 in the Element series. It comes in the same carry case, and the cables look identical except for the color. The cables are called Fire, so of course they'd be red. They also have the little DBS battery pack. Now, whereas the entry-level water cables were copper, these ones have silver inside. Just a quick look at the boxes. The water has a 6-layer carbon-based dissipation system, and the Fire has an 8-layer one. That's supposed to help with RFI contamination. Water has PE air tubes, and Fire has larger fluoropolymer air tubes. This is supposed to help prevent smearing and preserve dynamics. The water has cold welded plugs, and the Fire has machine welded plugs, so a more solid connection between the conductor and the plugs with the Fire cable. Both cables feel very high-end, and if I close my eyes, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two. Next up, I've got a pair of Robin Hood speaker cables. These are part of the Folk Hero series of cables, and it's the entry-level model. They've got the same type of carrying case as the XLR cables, and come with a cleaning cloth. The conductors inside are solid copper, so unlike stranded cables, if you bend these, they actually hold the shape and not flop over. Having solid cables as opposed to stranded is said to be better at minimizing the skin effect. The more skin effect, The more higher frequencies can pass through the cable, meaning you could have a brighter sound using stranded cables. This could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing depending on what sounds good to your ears, so you'd have to make the call on that. Now, since these are called Robin Hood, like Sherwood Forest, these guys are green. This is also a by-wire cable, so this end goes to the amp and this end goes to the tweeters and this one to the woofers. Both ends are spades, so you're gonna have to unscrew the binding post to lock these things down. I would have preferred bananas for quick swapping if I was gonna do some A/B testing with other cables, but these are pretty secured if you tighten down on them. The spades are cold welded and they are copper that's been dipped in silver. The build quality is just as high-end as the XLR cables, so they're pretty solid filling. Oh, and they also have the DBS pack attached to them. And finally, I have one more set of speaker cables to try out, the William Tells. These ones are also by-wire. The big difference between the Robin Hood is that these seem to be a much thicker cable. Everything else is exactly the same. The DBS pack is there and they've got the same spade connectors. They also come with a carry case per cable. So the plan is to get the rest of the guys over here to do some blind A/B testing with the speaker cables against some more affordable options with the setup that I've got on hand. Which brings us to how much all these cables cost. Well, the Cinnamon optical cable goes for $100. Water XLR cables, $700. Fire XLR, $3,500. Robin Hood speaker cables, $43.80 for 12 feet. And the William Tells are $61.90 for 12 feet. I know, these aren't exactly affordable, but I could see where someone dropping 20 grand or more on some speakers might feel that using a spool of $50 speaker cable might not pair well with the price of the speakers. I'm not justifying the cost, I'm just saying that I can see the thought process. Whether or not they sound like their asking price, well, we're gonna have to do some listening and we'll come back with a follow-up video. So tell us your thoughts on these cables. Have you heard any of them and how do you think they sound? Also, what's your max dollar amount that you'll drop on some cables? Leave us a comment and let us know. As always guys, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, then give it a like. And if you're not a subscriber, then tap the subscribe button. We'll see you guys again in the next one.